Maria lived in the outskirts of a large city. She was a humble woman, a single mother of 2 small children who fought daily to put food on the table. From a young age, she had learned to sew with her grandmother, a northeastern woman who used threads and needles to turn scraps into pieces of beauty. With her old sewing machine, a birthday gift from years ago, Maria did small alterations for neighbors, hemming pants, sewing zippers, tightening dresses. She dreamed of one day having her own clothing brand, but reality was too harsh to afford such dreams. Overdue bills, creditors, her children's school needs, and the house's maintenance were like chains keeping her grounded. Still, every time she fed fabric through the machine, her eyes sparkled. Hope lived there, and from that very place, something greater than she had ever imagined would one day be born. One morning, Maria was invited to take some of her handmade pieces to a small downtown boutique. She sewed with care, prepared simple tags with her name, and went filled with hope to present her work. Upon arrival, she was coldly received by the shop owner, who barely looked at her creations and dismissed her effort. "This looks like it was made by someone who never studied fashion," she said mockingly. Other employees laughed, and Maria left in tears. It was a crushing blow. Back home, she packed everything into a box and seriously considered giving up. "Maybe she's right. Who do I think I am to want more?" she whispered in front of the mirror. But that night, while her children slept, something inside her began to stir. She remembered her grandmother, the late-night sewing sessions, and the joy she felt while creating clothing. And she decided she wouldn't let that moment define her future. Maria returned to her sewing machine like a soldier going to battle. Quiet and determined, she began watching online tutorials about pattern making, finishing techniques, branding, and marketing. With no resources, she improvised with what she had. She used old fabrics to test new cuts, drew patterns on the backs of recycled paper, and studied late at night so as not to interfere with her children's care. With each piece, she improved. She started posting photos of her creations on social media, even with only a few followers. The comments were supportive, especially from other women also struggling to pursue their dreams. Rather than grow silent, Maria used the pain as fuel. Each sleepless night was another brick laid in the foundation of the strong, entrepreneurial woman she was becoming. Deep down, she knew she was planting something big. After months of hard work, a fashion influencer stumbled upon one of Maria's posts by chance. Intrigued by the authenticity of her pieces, she ordered a dress for an event. Maria poured her heart into it. She selected the best fabrics she had, sewed every detail with precision, and included a handwritten letter telling her story. When the influencer posted a photo wearing the dress and praised Maria's work, everything changed. Within hours, Maria gained thousands of followers. Order requests poured in. Women from all over wanted to wear something made by the seamstress who sewed with her heart. For the first time, Maria saw hope not just as a dream, but as something real. As demand grew, Maria had to move beyond improvisation. She rented a small space near her home and hired a neighbor to help. What was once a side hustle became a boutique. She bought new fabrics, invested in tags with her brand's logo, and even hired a photographer to capture her collections. She wasn't just selling clothes, she was telling stories. Every dress had a name, an inspiration, a message. Her social media became a space for female empowerment. Women of all ages and body types began to identify with her creations, and more than customers, they became fans. Maria was soon invited to fashion fairs, interviewed by blogs, and asked to participate in events with other entrepreneurs. What had begun with an old sewing machine and a stubborn dream was now turning into something she had never dared to imagine. At one of those fairs, Maria came face to face with the boutique owner who had humiliated her months before. The woman was shocked to see Maria as a guest exhibitor, with a line of customers waiting to see her pieces. Smiling, Maria extended her hand and said, "Thank you for not believing in me. You gave me even more strength to prove I could." The woman, embarrassed, didn't know what to say. That scene played in Maria's mind like a movie. She realized true success wasn't just about money or fame. It was about standing firm when no one believes in you. There, in front of everyone, she felt she had finally conquered not just external obstacles, but most importantly, the internal ones. With time, Maria started a social project in her neighborhood to teach sewing to other women. Many of them, like her, had been doubted, abandoned, or were financially struggling. The project was called Thread of Hope. With donations and partnerships, she created a community space with machines, fabrics, and volunteer instructors. With every new graduate, Maria felt her mission went beyond fashion. She was sowing self-esteem, independence, and transformation. She witnessed powerful stories of women overcoming depression, leaving abusive relationships, and discovering hidden talents. Sewing became a thread that stitched together deep, lasting change. One ordinary afternoon, Maria received an email that took her breath away. One of the country's top fashion magazines wanted to feature her. She doubted it was real, but it was. The team visited her studio, took photos, conducted interviews, and published her journey on the cover. From there came invitations for talks, runways, and even a proposal to collaborate with a major brand. Maria declined offers that required her to compromise her essence. She wanted to grow, yes, but without forgetting her roots. She kept the social project, her original designs, and her belief in purposeful clothing. She wasn't just a designer anymore. She had become a symbol of resilience and rebirth. A year later, Maria was invited to showcase her collection at a fashion event in Paris. She traveled with a racing heart, still in disbelief. When she stepped onto the runway to thank the crowd, she remembered her grandmother, the old sewing machine, the sleepless nights, and the tears she had once cried alone. She broke down in front of everyone. Her name was now on international websites, and she began exporting her creations. But even on the other side of the world, Maria remained the same woman who used needle and thread to sew dreams. She proved to the world and to herself that no one can stop a determined woman from reaching her place. Today, Maria uses her social media to tell stories like hers, to encourage other women, and to show that the greatest empires are born from the deepest pains. If you're being humiliated, doubted, or feel alone, remember, that's where the most beautiful transformations are born, she says in her videos. And she always ends with the same phrase: never underestimate a woman with a dream and a sewing machine. Her story became a book, a documentary, and most importantly, a beacon of light for all those who once thought about giving up. Maria didn't just sew clothes. She sewed her own destiny with courage, faith, and a lot of love.